The liquor industry is such a dark market, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of very clear boundaries of black and white. So how do you maneuver around that, but then also add color to it?
Yamini, what are the challenges that you see working in a segment like Alcopair with so many regulations and rules?
It's illegal to have angostura in your bar because of excise laws and regulations. People don't know that. Indian spirits that were perceived as country liquor, wrongly perceived and wrongly touted as country liquor, are now going to be seen as heritage spirit.
Tell us a little bit about those little rituals that you all have in the company, little things that make you all, very special and unique in your own way.
We have pretty much almost one brand under each spirit category. So we have a beer, we have gin, we have brandy, we have rum, we have vodka. In the malt space, we have a single malt, we have a blended malt, scotch, we have, a range. One thing that has grown with me, I guess, as I've evolved as a person also, is that I wanted to be known for something.
Today, I'm reminded of Sam Balsara's conversation that I had last season, where he said a good agency is a small agency that does great work. And with that in mind, I want to introduce our season 2, episode 2 guest, Yamini. Yamini is the founder of Outlier PR. Outlier PR is a boutique content-forward agency based out of Bangalore. They specialize in the beverage segment, where they do some great work with PR and deep advocacy. And, today our conversation with Yamini is all about her work, her successes, how she looks at the category. And, there's a lot to learn from her. So I'm very excited for this chat.
Yamini, welcome to the India PR Show Season 2. I'm so excited to talk to you today. And today's theme is the power of staying niche, in the world of agencies building capabilities and not staying niche per se, because obviously they're chasing numbers. Here you are, the Outlier PR, doing such good work and choosing to be niche and going deep with that segment. So talk to us about that.
Firstly, thank you, Nidhi, for having me. I know we spoke about this a little while ago, so I'm excited to be here. You're right in the sense that today there is a need to constantly expand and grow. I think one thing that struck me, I guess what my dad has always told me, right? If you're doing something, be very good at it. And that kind of translated to us, like when we were playing tennis, there were so many distractions. He's like, if you're giving your 100%, make sure you're putting in 110% of effort. So one thing that has grown with me, I guess, as I've evolved as a person also, is that I wanted to be known for something. In tennis, it was easy because I played very differently and I enjoyed that kind of recognition of being different. So in a sense, that's kind of stayed with me. And that approach of, hey, okay, if you want something in the beverage world, go to the Outlier because they are so focused in that space and nobody else can claim this. So
no, that's true.
It's
Indeed,
kind of nice.
Our journeys have crossed paths, and I've heard such great stuff about your work, and really nobody can take that away from you, because you do what you do so well that for anybody else to replicate that is not going to be possible. And that's so beautiful. And I want to talk to you. I was at a PR growth hack workshop organized by PRCAI, and Archana Jain from PR Pandit, the first thing that she spoke about is choose your niche and then stick with it, and you can have success with that. And when she was talking to me about it, the only person that came to mind was you.
Oh,
right?
Wow. Yeah.
Because
Thank
I
you.
think you are among the very, very few agencies that are doing that so well. So Yamini, what has been the journey with Outlier PR so far? How many years it's been for you guys?
Yeah.
How have you all evolved?
We actually started May 2021. So peak second wave COVID. Everything was remote, but I think the world was changing then. The world of communications was changing. Everyone was working from home. There was no necessity to be in a physical place, so you didn't have to have an office anywhere. A lot of people were very happy communicating virtually, through emails, through online sessions. People started writing also about alcohol and beverage. If you look at all traditional papers, while they shrunk in size, I think they started evolving, growing their digital presence, scaling up their online operations, and adding a lifestyle segment to their traditional newspapers and magazines. And that's only continued to grow. If you look at all of them, they've expanded, right? Now they have like a luxury magazine out, a luxury edition out. You look at a Sunday Mint Lounge, or sorry, the Weekend Mint Lounge. And it's great to see long reads. It's great to see things that resonate with consumers and very lifestyle led, right? And so it was just a natural, I guess, transition. Communications was evolving. Our approach was, hey, let's be just proactive. Oftentimes we keep a lot of knowledge to ourselves, and we push the clients also to say, hey, what's happening? What are your views on this? And the idea is just to be transparent, be proactive, and just share information.
Right.
And that's what really worked. People started writing about beverages, liquor, in a more interesting manner.
Yeah.
I think I have to give it to the ecosystem as well. You know, a lot of new age entrepreneurs started entering the beverage world. They came from non-traditional backgrounds, finance, marketing, sales, and they changed the way beverages also were created. There was a story aspect to it. There was a lot of education that was going behind it. There was so much more fun in terms of like design of the bottles, the label, the packaging, right? Even color profiles. So our very first client when we started in May 2021 was actually Makazai, which is started by a female finance. She was in finance, and Kasturi is her name, and she started with a white and a dark rum. Okay, technically a gold rum. And if you look at her bottles, they're clear bottles. The labels had pastel colors on it, very contrarian to what you would view rum as, right? So everything was evolving, and we were very lucky to have her as our very first client. So we had a rum brand as our very first client. I think with that, we started our journey. The work that we did there kind of translated then to getting on a club that was focused on single malts, based out of Bangalore, but they had like a national audience, and today they have over 6,000 club members.
Wow.
And from that, we then had the good fortune of getting 30 Best Bars on as our client. That really opened up doors for us. After that, the floodgates have just been open, and word of mouth plays a very big role in this industry. It's a small industry. So I think if you do good work and you're known for your work, it spreads. People will come.
Yeah. So, did you ever start Outlier PR with the thought that it would be a beverage specialist comms agency, or just how things happen? Like you said, your first client, into rum, and then just things happen. So it was by chance, or you always envisioned it that way?
I wish I could say I always envisioned it that way. That's not true. It would be a false statement. I took a risk to start. I said, okay, I have one client. I'm going to give myself 2 years, right? And I had a budget in my head to say, this is how much money I'm going to spend. If I eat through that budget, I'm going to shut shop and I'm going to go back and work, at an agency because I love agency life, or maybe potentially work in a corporate on Copcom side. But it was a happy coincidence that my first client was Makazai. And then we did take on a few tech clients because that was my background previously, right? So EV and hardcore semiconductor and tech.
Oh, I didn't know this about you.
Yes.
Wow.
So in
Okay.
our first year, we actually had a real estate client. We had audio client, audio tech client. Then we got on board 2 EV clients in the battery swapping space. Again, something I was very familiar with. Uh, Over time, it was just that there were so many more beverage brands coming in. It was easier to be very aware of what was happening in that industry. It's natural, right? You spend time in a particular industry, you're analyzing it, you know what's happening because you keep track.
Right.
So then it just takes more mind space for you to focus on other industries. And I think if you're in communications, you really need to know what's happening overall,
Yeah.
not just from a brand standpoint and like a competitor standpoint, but what's happening socially, economically, politically,
Yeah.
right? All of those aspects affect communication. And if you're not on top of it, you won't be able to pick up on things quickly. To say,
Right.
hey, this is timely and relevant, we need to talk about it. You won't be able to advise your clients better,
Right.
right? And if you're not speaking to enough people or you don't have enough, I would say, perspectives and point of views in that space, you can't build a narrative.
Yeah.
It's never about just your client. It's about the industry that they operate in as well,
Right.
right? And I just realized that we weren't, able to do that very well. And I noticed that there's a company called Distill Media. It's run by Dhwani. And she had so much clarity. She said, we are a conscious studio. We will only work with conscious, sustainable brands. She's like, I'm okay being that niche, Yamini, but I think it works. Started around the same time as we did. And I said, oh my gosh, if she can do it, I can do it. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
And slowly, it just made sense, right? The effort versus, return on that effort and investment and time just didn't add up. So
Right.
we slowly started saying no. And then as we evolved as a company, I think we said, okay, let's just do it. And as of, this year, this financial year, we actually let go of our 2 EV clients as well. It was very hard. It was a hard decision to make because we'd been with them on their journey from when they started. One of them was Battery Smart. They've scaled immensely, doing exceptionally well. They're the number 1 battery swapping company in India, growing at a very fast pace. So it's exciting to be on that journey with them. But at some point in time, I think you have to look at yourself as well and what you want out of it. And now we work with people, spaces, platforms, brands across the beverage ecosystem.
That decision to, actually, it's very interesting. I mean, I've not looked at your work and we follow your work so closely that actually you moved from being a generalist to a specialized agency from an industry standpoint. A lot of them they start with a specialization and somewhere move to being a generalist, but for you it's been different. And I think this year is when you've really consciously taken a decision saying that from here on we will only focus on the beverage. But that, as you said, would have been a tough decision on your financial health, etc. But talk to us about your portfolio. Like, what are the kind of clients you have currently?
So it's quite exciting, actually, because we have pretty much almost 1 brand under each spirit category. So we have a beer, we have gin, we have brandy, we have rum, we have vodka. In the malt space, we have a single malt, we have a blended malt, scotch, we have, a range. Some categories, we even have price ranges. So some of them in the premium price point, which is between a 3,000 to a 5,000. Some of them in a luxury standpoint, which is like an 8,000 plus. We have non-alcoholic as well. So we work with kombucha brands, shrubs, sodas, syrups. We have platforms like 30 Best Bars India. We did India Bartender Week, which was a very exciting one. We did the India Drink Retail, which was very new. So even in the beverage space, we're constantly working and learning more. There's a bottle manufacturer that we're working with right now that's launching 100%, sustainable, like a bottling unit. We have the Good Craft Company, which is basically an entire space that's focused on education and experience of alcohol. So overall, I think
Wow, that's
it's quite exciting.
yeah. When listening to it, it sounds so exciting. You mentioned that the work that you did with 30 Best Bars actually opened a lot of doors for you. Would you be comfortable just talking about the kind of work you've done with 30 Best Bars?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. So, in fact, when 30 Best Bars came to us, they were in their second year. All right. We had just started, like I said, we had only 2 clients in the beverage space. And they said, would you be willing to take it on? I wasn't comfortable then. I said, I don't think I can add value yet. But let me come and experience what y'all are doing currently with 30 Best Bars. So I flew down to Gurgaon. I experienced it firsthand. Right after that, I analyzed it for a week and I said, okay, we will be ready for you next year. But there are certain things that we want you to change. I want you to be very open and flexible with our approach, which was you have so much knowledge about the ecosystem, the industry, and what you're building. Start talking about it. Start sharing. And we set very simple but clear goals for 30 Best Bars. Said we wanted to be seen as one of the most reputed platforms that recognize the top bars across India. Okay? In order to do that, what are the parameters that you're looking at to build up that standard, right? That was one. But the easiest, most simple goal was, if anybody were to mention any of these bars in any kind of communication, we want the 30 Best Bars ranking alongside of it.
yeah.
And we started with a lot of knowledge sharing. We did a couple of road shows.
Yeah.
It became almost something that writers would tune in for every year. The number of people who logged into our online roundtables, because we focused on the basics first, which was ice programs, glassware, right? Then we went into bar design, right? Then we've gone into creating like menu concepts. And it's so exciting now, Nidhi, that 3 years in, we have definitely achieved that today.
Yeah.
Every single story that references any bar, they go beyond the 30 list also. Some bars are very proud to say we've got this number on 50.
Yeah.
And it's nice. But the standard of like the entire drink ecosystem, the bar ecosystem, has all been elevated. I don't think you can't say it was just because of 30 Best Bars,
Yeah.
but everyone was looking around and saying, okay, if they're doing this, I need to up my game.
Yeah.
So from a consumer standpoint, it's very exciting.
Yeah. And today, look at what the bar industry is doing. They are globally being recognized for the skills and I think it is to do with a lot of the education and advocacy that you've built out. And 30 Bars has become such an important ranking for the bars. They work towards it. And I'm sure the journey to kind of reaching there has been a lot of like the advocacy work that you do, education work. And I think, that's something that another journalist spoke about you in one of the conversations I was having. And they said, what we love about Outlier is that they make it a point to tell us what we don't know in through the kind of online sessions you have, and journalists are open to it, and I think they look forward to that. I think that is that would have taken you a lot of like a different thinking, right? So so is that something that you all makes Outlier so different than other agencies, or what would you say is your secret
I
to
think
this?
what's worked well for us is that our clients are very open to experimenting with different forms of communication. But I think information sharing is something that I find has always lacked. People are very guarded, or they just are so, I guess they're so ingrained in that industry, and they see it all the time, that they forget that people outside of that industry don't know it.
Right, right. Yeah, it's just
It's
an assumption that a journalist would know everything, but that's not
exactly.
true.
And it's just generally consumers as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I said, hey, people don't know this. And I think always putting ourselves on the outside saying, this is what I'm hearing, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I know is true. Please don't put yourself in that bubble, because people in your ecosystem know it. People outside of this little bubble and ecosystem don't. Start sharing about it.
Yeah.
It may seem very basic and trivial for you to talk about bitters in a bar,
Yeah.
right? And why today it's very like, you know, it's illegal to have angustura in your bar because of, like, you know, excise laws
Yeah.
and regulations. People don't know that. So when they're like, oh, why can't you make my old fashioned this way? And you're like, hey, legally it's not allowed, while you see abroad it's all easily available. So how does a bar go ahead and make their own bitters?
Yeah.
Right? Therefore, because I guess also the liquor industry is such a dark market, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of very clear boundaries of black and white. So how do you maneuver around that, but then also add color to it?
Yeah.
So it's really purely about seeing that, putting yourself outside, not letting yourself get too caught up in what's happening in that ecosystem, and pushing them to say, it's not trivial, please talk about it, please share that knowledge. And I think that's something that we've done consistently, and we continue to do that consistently.
Right, right. What is that one thing that you think that other agencies who do work with beverage clients, that's one thing that they do wrong? Or maybe they can do better, let's put it that way.
I don't know too many people who work in beverage, to be honest. I know there are a few, and I think they have very, very large mandates. And I'm sure, and I think there's a room for everyone.
Right, yeah.
I believe that, so I don't know if I can comment on what people are doing wrong or what
Or
they're
something.
not doing. Things that we often get complimented on is how we share the information. The fact that we are, one, sharing it from the client themselves, so making the client a lot more accessible.
Right.
Two, making sure that they're constantly getting connected to individuals in the industry. So, in fact, just yesterday, I had a journalist write to me saying, I'm working on this gin story and I want to speak to X brand. They are not part of your roster. Can you connect me? And I said, absolutely. Give me 10 minutes. I asked around, got the contact number and email, connected her and said, here's the contact number. I'm sorry, I don't know them personally, so I can't introduce you. But you should be able to reach
yeah.
out to them and they will be able to get back to you. What story are you working on? And then she said, thank you so much, Yamini. Actually, this is my story. And I said, okay, I think this person can give you insights on the luxury side of gin. This person can give you an aspect of the craft side of gin and what it means to be a craft brand, scale and grow, right? And this other person can give you a perspective on the entire, like, you know, flavor profiles of how gin is evolving. And if you want an outside in, like a international perspective, I'm happy to connect you to somebody there. So I think it's about helping people build their stories.
Yeah.
You can't be too focused on my client only and push your client in everywhere. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
That the transactional way of communications was long dead.
Yeah.
I still see it today. It's very sad, and I think that needs to evolve.
100%. 100%.
But I think that's what I think we do well. That's what we get complimented on a lot. And the fact that all of the stories are very interesting. It's storytelling led. It's also with quick facts, bullet points, data. So if there are reports that come out in the industry and we get access to that, we distill it down, not just to share it with our client, to say, hey, here are some interesting statistics that you could maybe
Yeah.
look into and utilize in your responses. But also with the journalist to say, hey, it's very interesting to see this category grow,
Growing, yeah.
or these new policies that have come in that are very relevant for, say, heritage spirits in India.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're just, I guess, almost like a conduit, just sharing information.
No, I think that really, really works because the mind share for journalists is let little consumers want to know, because there's so much of information overload. But again, giving them information on how they want it and when they want to, when they're most receptive to it, is, I think, is important. Um, while we are talking about the alcobev industry, what do you think is the next big shift happening in that space, or going to happen in the next, say, a year or so?
That's a good one. I think you're going to see a lot of brands. So I think it depends category to category. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of price tiering within categories. So a singular brand is going to have variants at different price points.
Right.
Right? So currently everyone's focusing on the premium segment.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll see some of them launch very niche products in the luxury segment, but you're also going to see like more affordable ranges
Really?
that are very fun, very youthful, very funky in their design, quirky in their language, something that is basically appealing to the youth. You're going to see a lot of fun sizes as well. The hipster packs have become the new trend. You're going to see a lot more RTD cocktails as well come through from legacy brands, I think. So quick, easy pour that you don't have to always go to a bar. You can just make a drink at home. You're going to see a lot of fun new agave brands, I think, come into India that are homegrown. Vodka is getting, its revival a little bit,
Yeah.
moving away from just our orange vodka. But
Yeah.
smoother vodkas, better quality vodkas. I think all of your malt players today have pretty much announced that they're setting up, I guess, industries, distilleries, and focusing just on vodka as well as the market. So there's a lot happening.
Yeah, and just, I think there's also a big shift happening with homegrown, liquor brands. I see that it was very heavy on international brands coming in, but I think in the alcobev space, very homegrown, very, rooted in culture, that kind of brands are also coming in. The whole Indian spirits it's taking its spotlight now.
Absolutely. There's a lot of challenges. I think like any industry has its challenges, but I think liquor specifically has a lot of rules, regulations. Sometimes you're in a particular market, you're not allowed to actually sell your product in another market.
Yeah.
Right? Legally you can't because of very dated policies and very dated laws actually for certain categories. But I think everyone is changing the narrative for sure in terms of being perceived as, Indian spirits that were perceived as country liquor, wrongly perceived and, wrongly touted as country liquor, are now going to be seen as heritage spirits or native Indian spirits. But I think it's a very exciting space. I love it, Nidhi. That much for sure.
Does it
And
also mean a lot of drinking at work?
sometimes
No.
I will actually tell you, my team is very good. They are very conscious. They don't drink. I definitely, in that sense, in comparison, I feel like I drink like a fish out of water. But they are very, very good. They're also clear. No, one of them's very clear. I don't want to work on any alcohol brands because I don't like drinking, Yamini. So I'm going to take on all of the, low ABV, zero proof, beverages, syrups, the, ancillary ones as well. I said, okay, as long as you're clear, that works.
No, I think that's also to do with, I think the new generation that's coming in, they very clear on what they want, how they want
Absolutely.
it, and what they can contribute, on. So, talking about Outlier's work culture. So tell us a little bit about those little rituals that you all have in the company, little things that make you all very special and unique in your own way?
I think, firstly, we're small. We intend to be small. I think a lot of people come to me and they say, why can't you scale and grow? You're doing well. Why not scale and grow? Why only restrict yourself? Why are you saying no so often? We say no more than we say yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's good.
But I'm very clear that, I think quality matters. I think attention to detail matters. People are leaving large agencies and coming to us because we're agile.
Yeah.
We also ensure that training is so important. If you speak to anyone in our company, you'll get the same experience. I don't want to say we sound the same because it's not like a robot and we're not manufacturing people.
True.
But you'll get the exact same experience. We don't focus on designation, years of experience, none of that. You'll see in our signatures, we just have our name and our phone numbers. And that's because we don't want anybody to have any bias to who they're talking to. Because every single member is going to be able to hold their own, have their conversation. We invest a lot in training, upskilling, and not like, hey, read this 500-page report, but hey, we're going to do this quick writing workshop. I'm going to give you a brief for 15 minutes. You have 20 minutes to write a complete story for me, or like a brand profile.
And like with pen and paper, non-AI.
No. Laptop.
Okay.
I will not survive if I have to write pen paper, unfortunately. Laptop. I want to see how you're approaching it, and then we share everyone's content on the screen. So you can learn from each other. We point out how we love like the approach somebody's taken. Maybe the intro. We like maybe how somebody's funneled down the information.
Yeah.
We do a lot of information sharing.
Nice.
So every week we do information sharing. We dissect things. So for example, not to get political or anything, but say Operation Sindoor and how the entire communication was led from nationally to internationally, to how they leverage spokespeople, at what level did they introduce them, the choice of gender. So it's beyond just our work. When we look at it, we look at communications holistically that way. For example, if there's like a crisis and somebody's put out a statement, right? How did they approach that statement? Was the tone interesting? How did they cover it? Why did they take a week to send out an emailer on things? Was that too long of a timeline? So I think we really focus on a lot of training, a lot of learning, because it shouldn't just be about, hey, you're here for work, right? But in terms of our culture, I would say we're fun, we're young. I am very clear. You come to work because you want to be here. When you're here, you should do great work. After that, please leave. Our work timings are kind of early for most people. We start 8:30 and we're done by 5:36. I don't want to look at emails after that. Clients are very clear that we are not necessarily reachable after that. It's so nice that it's established that if somebody calls any of them after 6, they'll be like, I'm so sorry, I'm calling you a little late. This is slightly urgent. I just want to inform you so I don't forget about it.
Right.
So I think creating a structure and an environment that that has a lot of room to grow, but also very, very clear in terms of boundaries, right? Professionalism. No casual. If you ever get a message saying "you'd" from my team, I will be one of those people who be like, what is "you'd"? You would.
You would, yes.
Please. So, I think the way it was built, the Outlier, the way I wanted to build it was, it had to be small. It had to be a place where if you come in, you're going to grow as an individual and you're going to leave a better version of yourself. I want you to understand what makes you work as a person, what you're good at, understand your strengths, build on them, make sure that your weaknesses aren't so, prominent that it brings down your strengths and make you a more rounded person. I think that's the culture and that's the approach we're taking with our team. We do a lot of fun things otherwise. Uh,
You'll
but
have the monthly. You'll go out or kind
we
of do things together
do,
once
yeah,
a
we
month.
do like one monthly activity. We It's usually revolved around food. Nobody wants to do any activities, so I'm like, let's do like a spin class and then this. No, Yamini, let's just go eat at this restaurant or
This
this
new one.
space. But we do a monthly activity. We do potlucks. We do like tastings as well. Because, for example, like there was World Whiskey Day, we had like 9 brands that we represented and like past and present. And we have all of the bottles and we're like, let's taste them. And each member came in and spoke about what is a single malt whiskey, what does single grain mean, what does blended malt mean, what is a single malt Scotch whiskey, and therefore we tasted everything. What do you mean by a peated whiskey versus a sherry whiskey? And it was nice because everyone from the team was able to contribute,
That's
and
good.
there was a lot of learning. There's a lot of understanding of, okay, I actually like this style of a whiskey, so I know what to ask for when I go to a bar. Or, if somebody says, oh, I like a particular style, you can recommend saying, try this, pick this up.
And I think that's the right way to do PR. So I think it's so good that even in your culture building activities, you all are focusing around Alcobev or the industry that you all are in, because I think then they are so deeply involved. I
Yeah.
think that's really, really nice. But this journey of yours as an entrepreneur, right? You're a first time entrepreneur.
First time.
So how has that shaped you as a person?
Oh my gosh, there's so much learning. There's never a book, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I was starting and I asked my dad, I was like, hey dad, like, what do I do? What do I need? He said, I know you need a GST number.
Oh, yes.
I do. Let's figure out how to get it. um, yeah, luckily, I will say India as a country is very encouraging of entrepreneurs and startups. They've made it very easy to start your own business, which is great. But there is no rule book, there's no guidebook. I think I just kind of do things that I would want if I was a employee. Things that I look for in terms of flexibility, in terms of trust, in terms of, just the way we do things. We do like a lot of gifting. It's my way of showing like love and appreciation for the person. So the fact that we have snacks at office, because I remember back in my time, not that it was very long ago, there was no like snack
Yeah.
station in our office. You wanted anything, you have to go buy it. There's chai, maybe coffee,
Yeah, but for
biscuits.
snack, yeah. Biscuits, yeah.
Yeah.
Biscuits are always there. I don't know.
Yeah, but nothing else. So, yeah, I think I've just built it the way I would want, a space that I would want to work at. I think that's the whole thing.
No, and I think you're doing a fine job as an entrepreneur, I must say.
Thank you,
Knowing
Nidhi.
you personally and professionally.
Thank you.
So, Yamini, what are the challenges that you see working in a segment like Alcobev with so many regulations and rules? So, what is the challenge that you see?
It is a dark market, and I think things are changing constantly, right? It is nice that today publications are able to write about it. There are a lot of restrictions. Understanding them, like you can't, for example, in a mainline feature your brand name. You can maybe talk about parent company. Today with content creators as well, there are a lot of regulations that has
Yeah.
to have, it's not an ad, etc. So public relations, I think, is actually very critical as a role. Understanding the nuances of market and what you can and cannot say is super
Yeah.
super critical.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of room to work around it.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, working on the content creation side with content creators now, the government's focus on, mentioning that drinking and smoking is injurious to health has become mandatory now.
Absolutely.
So-
I think I see there's more business for me, Nidhi.
Yes. Towards the end of our segment, we have this fun rapid fire.
Okay.
So we have 4 questions for you. Let's go rapid fire questions. It is a campaign of you wish you would have done it.
Not a campaign, but a client I wish we had was probably World Class, Diageo's World Class.
World class. I hope you're listening. One beverage brand that's absolutely nailing PR currently.
In a good and bad way, Radiko and Indri.
Okay. A book, a ritual, or a tool that keeps you grounded.
My dog Enzo, actually. Just our morning walks.
Your biggest lesson as a founder.
Change is inevitable. Embrace it and listen to your gut.
Thank you so much, Yamini. This was
Thank
fun,
you, Nidhi.
and I think so much we spoke about the Alcobev segment that I didn't know about. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.